Today we compare the DBX 160A and the 560A compressor. They're supposed to be the same, but are they? Thanks for joining me at Smith Music. My name is Paul Smith, and I bring you in the studio and backstage, as well as do gear reviews and show musicians how to build music careers. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. I did a video on each of these compressors separately, so I thought I should compare them. The 560A is supposed to be the same as the 160A in 500 series format. I own 3 160As and 2 560s. I use them all. After using them for a few years but never shooting them out against each other, I found that they're very similar. Shootouts are never fair or scientific, so this will be based on my opinion. As far as my experience, I find that the 160As have a little more thick low end than the 560s. The 160s also have slightly more colored sound that's really hard to describe. This is my impression, but I'm doing this test to see if my impression is accurate. We're going to listen to kick drum samples and vocal samples side by side. Okay, so comparing these on vocals, I've got things set as even as I can, and I did find, you can see on the console, I have the 560s on channel 1 and 2, and the 160s on channels 3 and 4. And I definitely had to add a little bit of boost to get things back into the console so that I could hit everything at the same level. So the input and output gain staging for these, the 560s and the 160s are definitely different. So I did the best that I could to get things sounding the same and using the same settings on the different units, and also getting their electronics to be hit the same. And coming back into the computer, I believe I've matched pretty close how hard they get. They come back into the computer, so their volume we're listening to is basically the same. So here's the 560A of this combined vocal track where I have there's 2 560As in parallel on this vocal track. One is getting hit just a little bit, taking about 3 dB off at the maximum, and the other one is really crushed.
Coming down, you don't need me, I'm no damn good out. Coming down, you don't need me, I'm no damn good out. Coming down, you don't need me, I'm no damn good out. Coming down, you don't need me, I'm no damn good out.
So using the DBX 560A and 160A, I've made some a kick-in track and a snare top track that have some pretty extreme attacks on them so that we can really hear them working. And let's see what the differences are between the 160A and the 560A. So just listening in my impression of the 560A over the 160A is that they're really close, and I'd be happy with either to really work to get transients to be what they need to be on a percussive source. What I found is that the 560A compared to the 160A needed a little less input signal into it. So my gain on my console, because I have them all into console patch or into console channels patched in through the patch bay. So I had to run a little bit more gain into the 160s than the 560s. Then the output wasn't exactly the same either. So I matched up the input level meter on the 160 and the 560 as close as I could so that they're each getting the same amount of signal into the electronics of each unit. And then I actually had to turn my faders down on my console to get them to be at the same level inside the DAW. So there will be a little bit of coloration from the console. This is a pretty clean console. But there is some of that on there. And But that's the biggest difference that I found. I do hear a little bit more low end, like I've felt before when I'm doing this test. I hear a little bit more low end on the 160 than the 560. Is it better? Not really. It's just different. The cost of the 160A is retailing for about $450 at the time of making this video. The 560A is $220, but you'll need a 500 series rack for the 560s. In use, they're both easy to use. I find the 560s harder to read the writing on the casing, but this is a really minor thing. They're both well made. I don't really have a bias about the sound of 500 series units in general. I do love the small form factor of 500 series. In the YouTube description, you can find links to any equipment or software used in the video. Thanks for joining me in the studio and backstage.